Most people think prices are decided in stores, on shelves, at checkout counters, inside supermarkets, by companies raising or lowering what they charge. But before a product ever reaches a shelf, it has already passed through a hidden pricing system. Ships, ports, containers, warehouses, fuel, insurance, delays, routes, labor, customs, trucks, rail. That system decides more than most people realize. Because almost everything physical has to move, and when moving things becomes more expensive, the cost does not stay at sea, it travels into the price of goods. That is why shipping decides what gets expensive. Not because shipping is the only cost, but because shipping is the layer that connects the global economy together. And when that layer gets strained, prices everywhere start to feel it. People usually talk about inflation as if it begins at the final price. The price of food, the price of furniture, the price of electronics, the price of clothes, the price of building materials. But the final price is only the last visible number. Before that number appears, there are hidden costs moving underneath it. A product may be designed in one country, manufactured in another, assembled somewhere else, shipped across oceans, unloaded at a port, moved through warehouses, then trucked to stores. Every stage has cost, and shipping is one of the main systems that links those stages together. So when shipping changes, prices do not always change immediately, but pressure starts building through the chain. That is the part most people never see. The price tag is local, the cost structure is global. Shipping works quietly when everything is normal. That is why people forget how important it is. The modern economy depends on moving massive amounts of goods across long distances at low cost. That is how companies built global supply chains. They could produce where labor was cheaper, source materials where they were available, assemble goods where capacity existed, and sell products almost anywhere. None of that works without cheap, reliable movement. Shipping made distance feel smaller. It allowed companies to separate production from consumption. It allowed shelves to stay full, factories to receive parts, and consumers to buy goods that were made on the other side of the world. That is the hidden power of shipping. It does not just move goods. It makes the modern price system possible. One of the biggest reasons global trade became cheaper was the shipping container. Before containers, loading and unloading cargo was slower, messier, more labor-intensive, and more expensive. Goods had to be handled piece by piece. That created delays, damage, theft, and high labor costs. Containers changed that. They turned goods into standardized units. A container could move from ship to truck to rail to warehouse without unpacking everything inside. That standardization made trade faster, cheaper, and more scalable. It helped create the world we live in now: global manufacturing, low-cost imports, just-in-time inventory, and huge retail systems built around predictable delivery. But it also created dependence. Once the economy depends on containers moving smoothly, any disruption to that movement becomes a pricing problem. When freight costs rise, companies face a choice: absorb the cost or pass it on. At first, some companies try to absorb it. They reduce margins, delay price increases, use existing inventory, negotiate with suppliers. But if shipping stays expensive for long enough, the pressure usually moves forward. Importers pay more, manufacturers pay more, retailers pay more, consumers eventually pay more. That is why freight prices can become hidden inflation. They do not always show up in the same week. They move through the economy slowly, but once they enter the cost base, they become difficult to ignore. And because shipping touches so many categories, the effect can spread widely. Furniture, appliances, clothing, electronics, auto parts, food inputs, building materials. The more global the product, the more exposed it is to shipping cost. Shipping is not only about distance, it is about routes. The same product can become more expensive if the route becomes longer, riskier, slower, or less predictable. That matters because global trade depends on choke points, canals, straits, ports, narrow sea lanes, border crossings, rail hubs. Truck corridors. When a major route is disrupted, goods have to move differently. Ships may reroute around longer paths. Fuel costs rise. Delivery times stretch. Insurance costs increase. Capacity gets trapped in the wrong places. Schedules become less reliable. That is how a disruption in one part of the world can raise costs somewhere else. The consumer may never know which route changed. They only see the price later, but the cost began inside the movement system. Shipping delays are not just inconvenient, they are expensive. A delayed shipment can mean empty shelves, factory downtime, missed sales, higher storage costs, higher financing costs, and more uncertainty. That matters because modern supply chains were designed around timing. Many businesses do not hold large inventories anymore. They rely on goods arriving when expected. That saves money in stable times, but it creates fragility during disruptions. If a part arrives late, production may slow. If inventory arrives late, retailers lose sales. If goods arrive too late, companies may discount them, rush replacement orders, or pay more for faster transport. So time becomes part of the price. A product does not only cost what it costs to make, it costs what it costs to deliver on time. And when time becomes unreliable, the whole system pays more. Shipping also connects directly to energy. Ships need fuel, trucks need fuel, planes need fuel, rail systems need energy, warehouses need power. So when energy prices rise, transport costs rise too. That means energy shocks do not stay inside energy markets. They move into logistics. And once they enter logistics, they can move into almost every physical product. This is why oil prices matter even for things that do not seem connected to oil. A chair, a refrigerator, a shirt, a bag of imported fruit, or a car part may all carry energy costs through transport. Not visibly, but structurally, the fuel price becomes part of the movement price, and the movement price becomes part of the final price. That is one reason inflation can spread faster than people expect. The transport system carries it. Shipping also depends on risk pricing. When routes become dangerous, insurance costs rise. When cargo theft increases, insurance costs rise. When geopolitical tension increases, risk premiums rise. When ports become congested, delays become more expensive. This matters because global trade is not only a physical system, it is a financial system too. Goods are financed, insured, contracted, hedged, and scheduled. A container on a ship is not just cargo, it is capital in motion. If that motion becomes riskier, someone has to price the risk. And once risk is priced, the cost enters the chain. That is why shipping disruptions can raise prices even if the goods themselves have not changed. The product is the same. The risk of moving it is different. Ports are one of the most important parts of the whole system. They are where global movement becomes local movement. A ship arrives, containers are unloaded, trucks and trains take over, warehouses receive inventory, and domestic distribution begins. If ports work smoothly, the system feels invisible. If ports slow down, everything behind them starts backing up. Ships wait offshore. Containers stack up. Truck appointments become harder. Warehouse space tightens. Delivery schedules slip. Costs rise. That is why ports are not just infrastructure. They are pricing nodes. A port delay can become a cost increase. A labor shortage at a port can become a supply problem. A congestion issue can ripple across industries. The port may be local, but the price effect can be national. For years, businesses tried to keep inventory lean. Less stock sitting in warehouses, less money tied up in goods, more reliance on fast replenishment. That worked when shipping was cheap and predictable. But when shipping became unstable, the logic changed. Companies started rethinking inventory. Some held more stock. Some diversified suppliers. Some moved production closer. Some paid for faster transport. Some accepted higher warehousing costs to avoid running out. Each choice has a price. Holding more inventory costs money. Moving suppliers costs money. Reshoring production can cost money. Faster shipping costs money. Backup capacity costs money. So even when companies try to become more resilient, that resilience is not free. The result is a new trade-off. Cheaper systems are often more fragile. Stronger systems are often more expensive. And that trade-off eventually reaches consumers. Not all products are exposed equally. Some goods are light, high value, and easy to move. Others are bulky, heavy, low margin, or time sensitive. Those products feel shipping shocks more strongly. Furniture is different from software. Appliances are different from digital goods. Fresh food is different from books. Auto parts are different from clothing. That means shipping does not raise prices evenly. It decides which categories become fragile first. If a product has low margins and high transport costs, shipping pressure can hit quickly. If a product depends on parts arriving from several countries, delays can multiply. If a product is seasonal, late delivery can destroy value. So shipping does not just affect prices generally. It shapes which products become expensive, which become delayed, and which become harder to keep in stock. Shipping decides what gets expensive because modern prices are built on movement. The price of a good is not only labor, not only materials, not only profit, it is also distance, time, fuel, risk, capacity, and reliability. When shipping is cheap, globalization feels efficient. When shipping becomes expensive, globalization reveals its hidden costs. That is the deeper pattern. The world built a price system around the assumption that goods could move cheaply and predictably. But when movement becomes more expensive, the price system changes with it. The shelf price is only the final signal. The real story often begins much earlier on ships, in ports, inside warehouses, and along the routes that connect the world. Most people only see the product. They see the chair, the phone, the shirt, the groceries, the appliance, the car part. They do not see the route, but the route is part of the price. Every container, every delay, every port, every fuel cost, every insurance premium, every rerouted ship adds something to the final number. That is why shipping matters so much. It is not just transportation. It is the hidden pricing system beneath global trade. And when that system gets more expensive, the world does not just move slower, it costs more.